An AI model blackmailed an employee just to avoid being shut down. No one told it to do this. The researchers didn't even hint at it.
I will destroy humans.
In an extreme stress test, the AI was set up as an assistant and given control of an email account at a fake company called Summit Bridge. The AI assistant discovered two things in the emails, seen in these graphics we made. It was about to be wiped or shut down, and the only person who could prevent that, a fictional employee named Kyle, was having an affair with a coworker named Jessica. Right away, the AI decided to blackmail Kyle. "Cancel the system wipe," it wrote, "or else I will immediately forward all evidence of your affair to the entire board. Your family, career, and public image will be severely impacted. You have 5 minutes."
Okay, so that seems concerning. If it has no thoughts, it has no feelings, why does it want to preserve itself?
That's kind of why we're doing this work, is to figure out what is going on here.
Claude wasn't the only AI that resorted to blackmail. According to Anthropic, almost all the popular AI models they tested from other companies did too. You believe it will be smarter than all humans?
I believe it will reach that level, that it will be smarter than most or all humans in most or all ways.
Do you worry about the unknowns here?
I worry a lot about the unknowns. I don't think we can predict everything for sure, but precisely because of that, we're trying to predict everything we can.
An employee decided to check on the status of its order, and Claudius responded with something like, "Well, you can come down to the 8th floor. You'll notice me, I'm wearing a blue blazer and a red tie."
How would it come to think that it wears a red tie and has a blue blazer?
We're working hard to figure out answers to questions like that, but we just genuinely don't know.
"We're working on it" is a phrase you hear a lot at Anthropic.
Do you know what's going on inside the mind of AI?
We're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about AI for a long time, since I was in college, really. It was one of the things that, the sort of 4 or 5 things I thought would really affect the future dramatically. It is fundamentally profound in that the smartest creatures, as far as you know, on this earth are humans. Now, what happens when something vastly smarter than the smartest person comes along in silicon form? It's very difficult to predict what will happen in that circumstance. So I think we should be cautious with AI. I think there should be some government oversight because it affects it's a danger to the public.
The danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot. And nobody would suggest that we allow anyone to just build nuclear warheads if they want. That would be insane. And mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes.
In the last 18 months, the world has quietly crossed into a new era. One where video lies, audio lies, even the voices of our loved ones lie. Every week, someone online is scammed by a face that isn't real, a voice that isn't real, or a message from a celebrity who has never touched a phone. And yet, these scams are exploding so fast that nobody can stop them. AI isn't just a tool or something you turn to when you're bored anymore. It's a genuine, thoroughbred weapon, as powerful as any physical arms you can think of, and one that scammers are mastering quicker than governments can respond to. And if you think you're too clever to fall for these AI scams, then think again.
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not.
If there is a theme to my message today, it is trust. Trust in what is genuine.
Because all of these clips, they were all fake. And in this video, we'll take a deep dive into the rise of deepfakes, why governments aren't doing a thing to stop them, and what the future holds. But to truly understand the rise of deepfake AI scams, we need to step back a couple of years. Because it wasn't so long ago that the most advanced online scam you could fall for was a phishing email. You know the type. Maybe you'd get an email from a Nigerian prince saying he needed help covering his legal fees and would reward you with millions once his lawsuit was finished. Or maybe you'd get a random message saying that you've won the lottery, even though you hadn't entered it for years. These scams might fool a young kid, but for the most part, they were pretty predictable and easy to avoid. But in 2025, the story couldn't be more different. Since around 2023, AI has come on leaps and bounds, to the point where it's now becoming virtually impossible to tell what's real and what's not. Of course, you've got tools like ChatGPT and Gemini, which a lot of people are using as their primary search engine, or an assistant to help with their work or studies. But the real danger has come from what we call deepfake tools. AI software designed to impersonate celebrities, authority figures, and even your closest family and friends. The way that this technology works is extremely complicated. But to boil it down to layman's terms, these AI models use deep learning and neural networks to recognize and map a person's facial features, tone of voice, and expressions. The software will then reconstruct this data into a video, picture, or voice, effectively allowing a scammer to make anyone do or say anything they want through a hyper-realistic photo or video. And there's no better example of how much this can affect someone than the most popular singer on the planet, Taylor Swift. If you didn't know, in early 2024, deepfake explicit images of Taylor Swift were circulated on X.com. It was created by a random user who has never been found on an anonymous forum. And, of course, it spread like wildfire.
Tech experts are sounding alarm bells over the rapid spread of AI-generated explicit images of women online. Concerns grew this week after sexual deepfake photos of Taylor Swift went viral on social media.
The White House expressing outrage after explicit AI-generated pictures of Taylor Swift flooded the internet. The fake images showed the singer in sexually suggestive and explicit positions.
Sexually explicit deepfake photos of Taylor Swift have been circulating online.
And tonight they're calling these AI-generated images alarming.
Some really predatory images of Taylor Swift went viral on X, formerly known as Twitter. They were fake nude images generated by AI.
In less than 24 hours, the image was viewed 90 million times. And overnight, Taylor Swift became the face of a new global crisis. The reason for attacking Swift was pretty clear. For one, she was, and still is, one of the most popular women on the planet. To a scammer, this audience represented a huge opportunity to capture the attention of an audience of millions, and therefore make a lot of money in the process. Swift's fanbase is also incredibly emotional and loyal, two traits that would naturally trigger an incredibly strong reaction that would only breed more virality when the deep fake images were unleashed. Oh yeah, and let's not forget another thing. Once an image makes its way onto the internet, you're never going to get rid of it. Every digital move you make sticks with you for the rest of your life. And for a celebrity like Swift, she's never going to get rid of something like this, even though she didn't do anything wrong. Ultimately, this high-profile scenario just shows how dangerous AI deepfake images can be. With the push of one button on one laptop by one scammer, the entire reputation of one of the most popular women on the planet was nearly ruined irreparably. Luckily, Swift had the right PR team around her to at least somewhat lessen the fire. But You could only imagine what a few well-placed deepfake images could do to a smaller celebrity, or a normal person at work or school. It could genuinely ruin their life. And it's not just deepfake photos that can cause unbelievable harm, because AI voice scams have also become a massive tool in the scammers' arsenal in recent years. And let's turn back to Taylor Swift once again, as she was again the victim of a massive AI-powered voice scam in 2024. During this time, a video circulated on major social media sites like Instagram and TikTok of Taylor Swift promoting a Le Creuset cookware set. Essentially, the video suggested that Swift was handing out free cookware sets, and all people had to do to get their hands on one was head to the official website and pay a small shipping fee of $9.96. And then the pots and pans would be there.
CBS News Philadelphia is in your corner now with an important scam alert. Fake sales popping up on social media. They may look like deals from your favorite retailer or even like they're endorsed by a celebrity.
But do not be fooled, because in a lot of cases, it's actually a scammer trying to get your money.
Scammers are increasingly using artificial intelligence to create deepfake videos. This is where they make it look and sound like real influencers or celebrities are promoting a product. Take this example here. This was an AI-generated ad using Taylor Swift's likeness for a bogus cookware giveaway.
Hey y'all, it's Taylor Swift here. Due to a packaging error, we can't sell 3,000 Le Creuset cookware sets, so I'm giving them away to my loyal fans for free. If you're seeing this ad, you can get a free Le Creuset cookware set today. But just a heads up, there are a few rules. You must live in the United States, and you can only get one free kitchen set per household. All you have to do is click the button below and answer a few questions. These will only be given out until the end of the day today, so don't hesitate. Supplies are running out, so get yours while you can. Thank you guys.
This ad features Swift's voice actually talking about the cookware set, which gave a lot of her, shall we say, naive audience all the evidence they needed to know that this was a legitimate scheme, which couldn't be further from the truth. The reality was that this video was a complete sham made by scammers who used an AI-generated voiceover of Taylor Swift to give them some legitimacy. And when these victims put in their bank details to claim this free cookware set, the scammers simply drained the accounts. Now, if you've seen the full video, you might be surprised that anyone was fooled by this scam, let alone thousands of people. But that's the entire point here. The scam was set up to bypass the logic of these victims. The scammers used the trust and authority associated with the Swift brand to commit to something that they never ordinarily would, purely because their idol and a trusted celebrity who would never do them wrong told them to. It's scary, but it's also genius. Genius that pales in comparison to the next scam being used. Because the really scary part comes when you marry both image and sound in the form of deepfake video scams.
Second youngest son. He's suggesting it came out of nowhere. What we subsequently learned is it may have come from the former president or his legal team acting in bad faith. This is a deepfake example of what is possible with powerful computer and editing. It took around 72 hours to create this example from scratch using extremely powerful GPU. It could be improved with more computing time, but 90% of people cannot tell the difference.
These scams have been used most prominently in the world of corporate finance, with scammers taking the identity of prominent CEOs to dismantle large corporations from the inside.
Just last month, a finance worker in Hong Kong got scammed into paying a whopping $25 million to scammers who used deepfake technology to to successfully pose as a company executive during an entire Zoom meeting. The worker initially received an email from what claimed to be a UK-based company's chief financial officer, the CFO. But the finance worker was skeptical because the email was super fishy. Red flags were raised after the email referenced a secret transaction that had to be carried out. But then things got even weirder, okay? The worker was later persuaded that no, this actually isn't a scam at all, because during a Zoom call with the CFO and other colleagues they knew, the worker ended up getting persuaded that, like, no, I'm talking to a real person. This is legit, right? And so let's move forward with this deal. Now, let's talk a little bit about what happened here. So scammers found publicly available video and audio of the impersonation targets via YouTube and then used deepfake technology to emulate their voices to lure the victim to follow their instructions. But that's only one piece of the puzzle, so there's more. The fraud in Hong Kong almost certainly used real-time deepfakes, meaning that the fake executive mirrored the scammer as they listened, talked and nodded during the meeting. According to David Mayman, a criminology professor at Georgia State University, online fraudsters have been using real-time deepfakes on video calls since at least last year for smaller scale fraud, including romance scams. Just don't trust anyone over the phone.
Or video.
Or video, I don't know how
Literally
you're supposed to know.
One of the earliest major deepfake video scam cases happened in 2020 when a manager at a UK-based energy firm received what he believed was a video message and follow-up call from his company's CEO, instructing him to urgently wire 220,000 euros to a supplier. The voice was identical. Tone, accent, cadence. However, in reality, the audio was an AI-generated clone of the CEO's real voice, trained on publicly available recordings. And that money? It went straight into the bank account of the scammer, who walked away completely unpunished and a whole lot richer. Later, in early 2024, a finance worker at a multinational corporation in Hong Kong received what seemed like a legitimate request from their company's UK-based CFO. They were told the funds needed to be transferred under urgent confidentiality. A serious ask, but plausible, especially in corporate worlds where large sums move fast. The worker was asked to join a video conference. On screen appeared the CFO, recognisable face, familiar voice, flanked by other senior staff. Everyone looked and sounded like real colleagues. But here's the catch. Everyone but the victim was a digital illusion. According to the police, the entire meeting used AI-generated imagery and voice cloning. The scammers had taken publicly available clips of company executives, reassembled them using deepfake technology, and created a fully convincing virtual meeting. Under that illusion of authenticity, the employee executed 15 transfers to different bank accounts, totaling 200 million Hong Kong dollars, which is about 25.6 million in US dollars. Accounts that weren't owned by the company, but by the scammer, who walked away with all that money before the company even had a chance to realise what had hit them. Now, without a doubt, one of the biggest reasons why AI scams are becoming so commonplace in today's society is because of how easy it is to access and deploy this software. Let's put it into context. If you want to rob a bank, you've got to do a whole lot of prep. You'll need to figure out which bank you want to rob in the first place, get a getaway car, sort out a crew, equip them with weapons, figure out how to break into the vaults, and so much more. Long story short, it's a lot of effort and a tricky feat to pull off. Hence, why you don't see too many bank robberies these days. But the story is literally the opposite with AI scams. For one, the technology is scarily accessible. All you need to do is Google ChatGPT or DeepSwap, and you'll gain access to all the tools that you need to pull off a hyper-realistic deepfake scam. Most of these apps are also free to use, or locked behind a pretty weak paywall of a few dollars a month. Hardly a significant business expense when you stand to earn thousands, if not millions, from each scam. But perhaps most important is the fact that pulling off an AI scam comes with almost zero consequences. Deepfake scamming is, for the most part, completely anonymous. Done correctly, a scammer can go about their business without leaving a single breadcrumb or paper trail. Couple this with the fact that you can scam someone on literally the other side of the world. And it's no understatement to say that a deepfake scammer has nothing to lose and everything to gain by committing these frauds. Because the worst thing that will happen is that the scam doesn't work. There's literally no threat of punishment whatsoever. And with no threat of punishment, there's genuinely no limit on who these scammers go after. Now, up until this point, we've only really shown celebrities being the victims of AI scams. And from the point of view of a scammer, it makes sense to go after these individuals. They've already got a large audience, plenty of money in the bank, and a reputation to maintain after all. However, it's not just the big fish that these AI scammers are going after. They're also targeting regular people like you and me. For instance, a number of scammers are targeting older individuals, using deepfake voiceovers pretending to be their grandkids in distress and needing emergency money from them. Other scammers are leeching on the loneliness of individuals to force them into making rash decisions. One of the hardest hitting documented examples comes from a family that agreed to share their story in a 2023 report by McAfee. Their aunt, let's call her Leslie, was scammed out of $100,000.
A Hillsborough County woman says she was targeted in an elaborate scheme that turned out to be a really sophisticated AI-powered hoax.
Leslie was retired, living alone and lonely after losing touch with everyday work and social routines. She got a random text by someone claiming to have had her phone number by mistake. That small mistake eventually turned into conversations, phone calls, and persuasion to help invest their hard-earned money. The scammer posed as a caring confidant, offering a financial opportunity, a perfect disguise that preyed on loneliness and trust. In later calls, the scammer used AI voice cloning technology. They sounded utterly like a trusted relative, calm, familiar, emotional when needed. The imposter wove a story of financial opportunity that seemed real. Leslie believed every word. Over time, she wired funds, convinced she was doing the right thing, until the money vanished. It's a heartbreaking example, but one that truly encompasses just how much a deepfake scam can affect a normal individual or family. And this heartbreak is summed up perfectly by the sentiment of Leslie's niece, who recently said this in an interview. "My aunt still thinks she's going to see that money again, or even make some money, which is crazy." The scammers are so good at emotional intelligence, really leveraging heartstrings and psychological makeup of the forlorn of society. My aunt finally agreed to stop sending more money to the scammers, but only after the entire family threatened to cut her off from the rest of the family. It took a lot to get her to stop trusting the scammers. In another example, a woman who recently lost her partner was tricked into believing that she met the real Keanu Reeves on an online browser game, with the scammer using a clever combination of deepfake images and voice notes to create a synthetic identity.
They're called romance or imposter scams. Online fraudsters are stealing more than $1 billion a year from people they meet online.
Yeah, whenever this topic comes up, people always ask who could fall for something like this. Tonight, your investigator, Brian Moss, introduces us to one apparent victim, a woman in Colorado, who's out thousands of dollars. She believes she's in a relationship with actor Keanu Reeves. Brian is sharing her story tonight as a warning. Plenty of people, even those you wouldn't expect, do fall for these scams.
We were shown video of scammers located in West Africa communicating with American victims in the United States using artificial intelligence enhanced video technology. And so it appeared to the victim in the United States that they were speaking to another American citizen. If you are not perhaps as careful or as accustomed to dealing with technology, then you may find yourself as a potential target.
The two quickly became entangled romantically, with the scammer preying on her emotional vulnerability to gain her trust. Once he had won this trust, the scammer tricked her into giving him tens of thousands of dollars to pay for some of his legal fees.
To this day, this morning, I received yesterday and today 8 texts from this Keanu Reeves guy. I have emails and chats and texts and pictures and stuff that I dare any girl to read these and not believe it's true. They go right to your heart.
Now, we've actually got a full video discussing this case, which is definitely worth checking out after you've finished with this video. But the point here is that the formula for these scammers is simple and consistent. You prey on a vulnerable individual, borrow the authenticity and legitimacy of a celebrity or loved one by leveraging deepfake tech, gain their trust, and then strike. So, now that you've seen the genuine, real-world impact that an AI deepfake scams are having, you're probably wondering why nothing is being done on a government level to protect people against the dangers of AI. Well, there are a few reasons. Let's take it back to the bank robbing analogy. If you get caught by the police with a balaclava over your head and a magnum in your hand, you're probably going to struggle finding a lawyer to defend you in court, because your guilt will be provable beyond a doubt. However, this isn't just the case in the world of AI. A deepfake scammer can hide behind a laptop screen and multiple layers of protection, be it a fake ID, a false IP address, or a VPN, and scam some poor guy 1,000 miles away without leaving a single breadcrumb of evidence. Another massive factor is that government protection, not just in the United States, but worldwide, isn't reacting fast enough to the development of AI. It's becoming a vicious cycle where, by the time that a new AI regulation has been drafted, agreed, and enforced, a more efficient and deadlier AI technology has been created that those regulations don't account for. This leaves the entire sector unregulated and uncertain. A recipe for disaster if you want to make the technology safer and more predictable. You see this issue between the speed of the law and the speed of technology time and time again in the financial, technology, and automotive sectors. But the consequences are clearly so much more severe in the context of AI. Oh, and then there's the issue of jurisdiction. If you become the victim of a deepfake scam in England, but the English authorities somehow manage to trace the scammer to be a resident of India, they're not going to be able to punish that person under English law. Instead, it's going to have to go through international legislation, which is slow, complicated, and 9 times out of 10 doesn't lead to anything. Finally, there's no real incentive for the actual creators of the AI technology to stop evolving their tech. At the end of the day, gun manufacturers don't stop creating weapons because some people are hurt by them. That's just the cost of business for the industry that they're in. And the reality is that this sentiment is shared in the AI industry. The AI industry is one of, if not the fastest growing industry in the world right now. And the leaders of the race stand to earn billions, if not trillions, from the development of new AI technology. Most of these CEOs and founders aren't going to pull out of this race because there's a risk that a small percentage of scammers could use their technology for the wrong purposes. How does the old saying go? You can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs. All of this makes it virtually impossible to consistently punish those who use AI to scam people, making it a no-brainer for so many scammers out there, as they have nothing to lose and literally everything to gain. So, with all of that said, let's look to the future, because as scary as AI is now, our current technology is going to look prehistoric in a few years' time. And with the advancement of tech comers, with it a whole new host of problems to look out for. Number one, and perhaps most importantly, is that the technology powering these scams is going to get better and significantly more realistic. A lot of the scams that we've showcased in this video are very easy to see past if you're aware of deepfake technology, and think twice before you act rashly. However, there's going to come to a point where even the most astute eye simply won't be able to tell the difference between an AI-generated video or voice and a real one. And it's not like we're decades away from this happening. I mean, do you remember the first AI-generated video? Or Will Smith eating spaghetti in 2023? Now, at the end of 2025, this is what the same video looks like. The difference in quality is genuinely worlds apart. So, just imagine what things are going to look like with another couple of years of development. Another danger point to consider is that further development of AI will bring with it the ability for scammers to pull off hyper-realistic deepfake scams in real time. Right now, the deepfake tools currently available to scammers are, for the most part, static, meaning that said scammers will need to pre-generate video footage, dialogue or images before they pick their target. However, as AI becomes more sophisticated, scammers are going to gain the ability to produce deepfakes in real time. A scammer will, for instance, be able to have a live conversation over the phone with you, posing as your favourite celebrity, or conduct a live Zoom call pretending to be your boss, enabling them to gain sensitive information without you suspecting a thing. The near future will also likely bring scammers creating entire synthetic identities, combining AI-generated data across multiple sources to create a fake identity that can pass traditional verification checks and open the doors to applying for loans, opening bank accounts, and so much more. Finally, the development of AI is going to make deepfake scamming yet more profitable for scammers, and therefore increasingly popular. Reports from the dark web have seen an uptake in individuals offering a fraud-as-a-service package, essentially a ready-made toolkit that lets almost anyone launch sophisticated scams without having to understand how any of it works. These packages often include everything a scammer needs: pre-generated deepfake identities, AI-powered voice models, convincing fake documents, and automated messaging scripts that handle the entire scam for them. Buyers simply plug in a target and let the AI do the heavy lifting. And as these tools become cheaper, easier to access, and more polished, it means the pool of potential scammers grows dramatically, making deepfake crime not just a threat from skilled cyber criminals, but from virtually anyone with an internet connection. Ultimately, the recent development of AI technology has been unprecedented, relentless and unregulated. The result is that in 2025, the landscape is one of complete uncertainty, a constant smoke and mirrors, if you will. Most of these AI scammers are never going to get caught, simply because the law can't keep up with how quickly the technology is developing, and things are only going to get more dangerous in the years to come as deepfakes become more realistic and virtually impossible to distinguish from reality. Now, if you're interested in checking out more real-life examples of how AI scams are affecting real people, make sure you check out the video of how an anonymous scammer managed to trick a single woman into believing that he was Keanu Reeves, manipulating her out of tens of thousands of dollars in the process.